When you're a caregiver, like many pastors, missionaries, and counselors are, it's as if we're wearing a backpack and we hear people's sad and traumatic stories and we're taking on the weight of their stories and filling up our bags. At the end of the day, we're carrying a lot of weight. One of the ways that we can unload that weight is through debriefing. However, when we start unpacking the stories, we can unintentionally be just passing the weight onto our coworkers or even our spouses. And no one wants to do this. So oftentimes we just don't say anything at all and continue to carry that backpack, and its weight grows with every appointment. So in this video, I'm going to introduce a method of debriefing that will give you a way to debrief without passing on the burden to others. With this strategy, you will find freedom and you will build resilience. My name is Laura, founder of Hope Made Strong. We equip you and your ministry team as you support and care for others in your community. Just about everyone in a helping role can remember a time that they have unknowingly traumatized their colleagues, their friends, their families with stories that probably had more details than necessary. I know I've had my fair share of shock and blank stares when my response to the casual question of, "So, what did you do today?" included a story with too many unsavory details. I want to introduce you to a strategy that prevents compassion fatigue and promotes a healthy workspace. It's a concept by Lori Ann Perlman and Karen Sackney. It's called limited disclosure or low impact debriefing. It's used to minimize the passing on of trauma by helpers who are informally debriefing with others. As someone whose days are spent supporting and helping others, we can often become numb or desensitized to trauma, so we're not aware of how shocking or how distressing it can be for others to hear. Or perhaps you're the opposite. You are very aware of how distressing the stories can be, and you hold it all in, feeling like you can't share it with anyone. This can become a very heavy burden and can feel extremely lonely. Low impact debriefing gives you the freedom to be able to talk and share with others without fear of re-traumatizing them, and still provides you with support that's needed in sharing about the difficult work that you do. Low impact debriefing involves 4 key steps. Step number 1 is self-awareness. It's important to know what we're needing in the time of debriefing. Oftentimes, I just need someone to validate my work because I feel helpless and frustrated. Therefore, sharing the details aren't necessary. Other times, I'm looking for ideas on how to best support the individual. Being aware of why you need to debrief will determine the level of details that you share. Step 2 is fair warning. In everyday life, when we're about to share difficult news, we often give a small warning that something negative is about to come. We say things like, "I have some bad news to tell you." This allows the listener to brace themselves to hear what you're going to say. The same principle applies for debriefing. If someone asks, "How was your day?" and you share the graphic details of your day spent bedside at the hospital without giving them any notice or warning, the listener may be startled. It's important to provide fair warning to those we're going to share and debrief with, so they can ready themselves to hear what might be difficult information. Step 3 is consent. After you've given fair warning to the listener, you need to ask for consent. It can be as simple as, "Hey, I need to debrief with you. Is this a good time?" Or, "I heard something really hard today. Could I talk to you about it?" The listener then has a chance to decline or to qualify what they're able and ready to hear. For example, a family member might say to you, "I'm right in the middle of something. Can we talk about this later tonight?" Or perhaps a coworker will say, "I have 15 minutes and I can hear some of the story, but would you be able to tell me what happened without all of the gory details?" No one likes to be bulldozed when someone says, "Hey, you got a minute?" and they don't wait to hear the answer and they rush right into the story. Giving space and permission for the person to answer builds trust and removes any guilt for sharing from you because they have provided you with permission and their boundaries. 4th step is limited disclosure. Now that you received consent, you can decide on how much of the story you will share. Now, imagine the story as being contained inside of a circle. You start your story on the outer edge of the circle, which is the least traumatic information, and you slowly moving around the circle gradually towards the core or the very traumatic information, giving the opportunity for the listener to control the flow of what you're sharing. When you've used a low-impact debriefing strategy, you are aware of your own needs for debriefing, and you've warned the listener so they're able to brace themselves for what they're about to hear. You've gained permission, and you started the story on the outer edge with the least amount of graphic details. This process gives you the freedom to share and allows the listener opportunity to ready themselves and limit the content according to their needs. It's respecting both your needs and their needs. I feel it's really important to note that confidentiality of the person you're supporting is so important. Respecting their privacy is our ethical responsibility. Oftentimes, we're working in small communities or in churches where everyone knows each other's business, so privacy and trust is priority. By starting at the outer edge, we can speak in vague terms. For example, when debriefing with your spouse, you can say, "I met with someone today who shared some awful things that happened to them as a child. It made me so angry and frustrated that I can't do anything about it." Details of the trauma were minimal, and we were able to share about our day and how we felt about it without breaking privacy or burdening the listener. I hope that you're able to use this low-impact debriefing strategy. If you're looking for more information, I've linked to an article in the show notes below. Take care, and thanks for connecting.